Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Hannah, and I haven't posted in a while because I had a baby a month ago. So this is going to be my labor and delivery story. It's going to be a story time, basically, because I've been gone for a month, almost, probably longer, probably closer to 2 months, almost. I don't remember the last time I posted, but I know it was my hospital bag and baby's hospital bag. Good thing I uploaded that because soon after that I gave birth. So it all started on October. Okay, his due date was November 4th, and he was born on Halloween. Could have been our fault, could have been just because he was ready. I don't really know, but so on the 29th and the 30th of October, my mom and I would always go walking, like to stores, and that's how I would get my exercise in. So Monday we went to the store to get groceries, and I had Braxton Hicks contractions. I'm just gonna call it that because they ended up going away. They lasted about an hour, but then they went away. So then I didn't think of anything of it. And then Tuesday, the same thing. We were in Marion at Ollie's and Myers, I do believe. And contractions hit again. They lasted a little bit longer and was a little bit stronger, but then they went away. And I was perfectly fine until I didn't have any more contractions after that. So then, because I was so close to my due date, I thought, why not have sex to induce the labor? Because sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I read online that it doesn't work unless the baby is ready. So had sex that night, but all was fine. Nothing happened after that. And then my husband gets up at 2:30 in the morning for work, and because he has to drive far, so he has to wake up early. And then he was getting up for work, and I think I packed his lunch that day, and I remember feeling a little bit off, like not myself. I mean, obviously it was early in the morning, but I don't usually feel that way. And a little bit before he was about to leave, I started getting like weird cramping. It wasn't anything major. It was definitely mild. Like I barely felt it, but I knew it was there. And then I knew I shouldn't have let him go to work. I just had a gut feeling that today he shouldn't have gone to work, and he ended up going. And then I ended up, after he left to go to work, I went upstairs and laid in bed and watched YouTube for a while, because that's usually what I do after he leaves for work, to get myself wound back down to go to bed. And I got cramping, but it was worse. And I ended up feeling like I had to go to the bathroom, and more of the mucus plug started to come out. It was normal snotty green color, disgusting. But if I keep looking over, it's because Waylon is over there. And I went and tried to lay back down for a while. And then like really, really soon, it wasn't even that long. I think by 3 o'clock, my husband left home. And then at 3:30 is when they started getting stronger and close together. So at this time, they were about 10-15 minutes apart, maybe. And they were pretty strong. I mean, period cramps at that point. Like my period cramps. They're usually bad, but and at that point, I think I called my mom to come over because I just didn't feel right. So she helped me. She coached me through labor, and I literally labored the whole time at home. So, but at I think about 5:30, 5 o'clock, we ended up calling my husband to tell him to come home. And by that time, he was already at work, working. He wouldn't answer his phone, so I had to call his dad to tell me to get his ass up here because it was baby time. Because the contractions weren't going away. And this was about an hour, 2.5 hours later that I was still in labor. And so he gets here. I'm about done. Had it. And he gets himself ready. We get myself ready the rest of the way. And we go to leave. My mom hurries up and puts the puppy pad thing on the seat just to make sure in case my water breaks. And I was literally getting into the car and I could feel it gush, like my water broke. So we ended up going to my hospital, which was in Marion, about 25 minutes away. We got there in like 10-15 minutes because my husband drove 80 miles an hour, and we ended up dodging all of the street lights or whatever, traffic lights. We ended up going the back way to Marion, so it was a lot faster. But in the car, my contractions were 4 or 5 minutes apart, really freaking strong, like in pain strong. And we get to the hospital, they wheel me in. It was kind of a bad experience at the hospital. I don't know if it's just all the time that they're like this or what, and they also, I can't really get mad at them, but when they wheeled me in and everything, they have you, when you get into your room, they have you go into the bathroom, strip, put on a gown, and then lay in the bed. Well, it took me about 20 minutes to get that gown on and get in the bed, because come to find out, by the time we got to the hospital, I was about 8 centimeters already. So I labored literally all the way up to 8 centimeters from home. I labored that long in home. And so no wonder I could barely move. It hurt so bad I could barely move. No wonder. Well, it took them another 20 minutes before they could get me hooked up to a monitor to know what the hell was going on. So I know it wasn't their fault, because they could have thought like, oh, you're a first time mom, you're just dramatic as hell. No, I was 7-8 centimeters about to pop. Like, but I mean, you can't really get mad at them, I guess, because they didn't know. But so at this point, they were a lot closer together. I don't remember. A little bit of this is kind of fuzzy. Like the whole time, the whole clock went by super fast. Like I don't remember how the hell the time went by so fast. I guess when you're in pain, it just flies by. But so I get in the bed and laboring hell, and 2 ladies come in and check me. That's when they said I was in at 8, and they said everything was fine. 2 hours later, maybe, so it's about 7, 8, maybe 8 o'clock, I think, and I start shivering like crazy, shaking so bad. And I think that's the transition period before you're about to ready to push. Well, I stayed in that state for about 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Shivering as all get out. I wasn't even cold. I was just shaking. And I tell the nurse, I'm like, I feel like I'm about to push. Like, it hurts like hell. I feel like I have to push. So the nurse comes in, one of the doctors, and she checks me. And she, so let me just say right here, I planned on having a natural birth. No interventions, no pain medicines, no nothing. If I needed the pain medicine, I'd ask for it if I got there in time. Well, by the time 8 centimeters came along, I wasn't going to have pain medicine. I couldn't have an epidural, pain medication, anything. So at this point, I was okay with it. It was kind of tolerable, but not really. I had to deal with it anyways because it was too late. So she tells me that he's breech. The whole 2 weeks before he was born, he was head down. She tells me she feels a butt. My mom starts bawling her eyes out. I start freaking out because he was perfectly fine before that. I don't know when, we don't know when the heck he flipped, but he did. So he was coming out butt first. So I have to sign, I'm at like a 9-10 centimeters, and they're making me sign a piece of paper to be able to get cut open and have an epidural. I should have signed those fucking papers before I got in the building. I didn't think of it because I didn't want interventions. Well, make sure you sign those papers before you go in, just in case you have an emergency C-section like I did. Because I don't remember what the heck I signed. But They gave me a shot to stop the contractions, and I signed those papers, and then I'm like, I feel like a gush down there. I'm like, what the? I feel like I'm peeing. Am I peeing? And everybody just like looks down, and they're like, no, hon, that's your baby's pooping. He's about ready to come out right now. So I'm like, what? Like, she said his butt was literally at the almost ready to come out. So get that into your brains and think about that. So yeah, my husband said a couple weeks after I asked him what it looked like, he was like, yeah, yellow and nasty, because he was pooping out of me. Like, that's how close he was to the outside world without being born. But right after that happens, they hurry up and get me into the surgical room. Because I didn't have any pain medication in, I had to walk up onto that operating table. That was weird and creepy. And then I had to sit up I had a nurse stand in front of me for the epidural. They warn you about them, whatever. The first one didn't hurt. They didn't tell me, but the second one, that one hurt like hell. I guess they don't tell you for a reason, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I don't have back pain now, as of now, but yes. And I go to lay down, cold as hell in that room. It took him about 20 minutes before my husband could come into the room. Because it was just weird. It was weird when the medication got in my system. And then, like, all the tugging and tearing, all that's weird. I can insert pictures here. So if you're kind of squeamish, don't look right now. Pictures. He was born at 9:28 a.m. butt first. He came out of the womb butt first. So little Waylon Maverick was born at 9:28 a.m. and he was 7 pounds 2 ounces and perfectly healthy. It's just he decided to come out butt first. He decided to be weird and unique, I guess, and decided to flip on everybody before being born. So with all that being said, it all went really well. It's just not what we hadn't planned, but it went really well. And I ended up getting stitches on the inside, stitches on the outside, and then glue over it. So no staples, so I'm glad about that. And we were in the hospital for 2.5 days. And hospital stay wasn't that great, but what hospital stay is. And so I'll insert some pictures here after when we were in the hospital. And yeah, so my labor was a total of 6 hours because I did all of it at home, but it was quick. We weren't expecting it to be that quick. I mean, I wasn't, but my mom was. Because before I got pregnant, I had loose ligaments and loose joints. And then when you're pregnant, you get even more loose ligaments and loose joints. So my hips were just wide. The opening was just wide. He was pushing his way through and just didn't care what position he was in. And I could have had him breech, like naturally breech, but my hospital doesn't allow that because of complications. So I had to do an emergency C-section. So if you guys like my labor and delivery story, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And comment down below if you guys have had a natural birth or an emergency C-section or just a planned C-section. Let me know because I'd love to know. So see you in my next video, guys.